what are the organizations that you volunteer with?
So I volunteer at the Friends of Grande Spirit Foundation.
Okay.
We are the fundraising arm for the Grande Spirit Foundation. So we're a group of volunteers, and we do different events. We tried to, before COVID, to raise money to purchase things for all the lodges that make them more of a home and not just housing.
Yeah.
So that would be exercise equipment, reader boards for inside the lodge, patio furniture, updated sitting room furniture. We've raised over $400,000 in the last 15 years.
Wow.
Through the generosity of our service groups and the community, of course. So it's a worthwhile cause, and it's not just the Grand Prairie Lodges, it's the surrounding communities.
Yeah.
Just Claremont, Sexsmith, Bezants, and Beaver Lodge, Spirit River, La Glace, Wembley.
Wow.
And
Yeah, that's incredible.
Mhm.
That's absolutely incredible.
Definitely a worthwhile cause.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is your earliest memory of volunteering?
Oh gosh, when we were kids, our parents were really, involved in, our mom was a Royal Purple and our dad was in the Elks, and so at an early age we were just kind of all over the place, and my whole family's like that. Like
Yeah.
they volunteer for their community, north of Sexsmith, and it's always been a part of our life. It's
Yeah.
just something you just do for your community, so
Yeah.
very young.
How you first got involved with the Friends of Grande Spirit?
So I first heard of them, my grandmother lived in Aurora Court, and I went to a family barbecue with her, and I ran into some people that I knew from coming in the restaurant. I work at the Stonebridge Hotel, and they would come in the restaurant all the time, and so they were barbecuing, and I was like, oh, you work here? And they're like, no, we're part of this group that just started, and the Friends of Grande Spirit. So they kind of told me what it was all about, and then probably a year later I signed on, and it's just an amazing group of people from the community, and so positive, so much fun, and we just all meld together so well, and we raise a lot of money. We make a lot of seniors happy, and we have a really good time doing it too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So how long has the Friends of Grande Spirit Foundation been around for?
Well, I've been with them for 14 years. I think it's been 19 years.
Okay.
So it'll be 20 years. This will be the 20th year.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And we still have the founding members, Jerry and Carol Rigler and Lois Simpson are still, amongst others, but they're the founding members of the Friends of Foundation, and they're still on board and still going hard.
So can you tell me about an aspect of the volunteer experience that you would like to see be different?
I think, like for volunteers, I think a lot of people would love to volunteer, and to be honest, it's getting out there to them the different things they can volunteer for. I know I follow the Volunteer Service Bureau page, a lot, and a lot of my friends do, but I think a little bit of everybody wants to participate somehow in volunteering, and it's just a matter of them finding what's right for them. I think that everybody has something in them that can contribute to the community in one way or another, and you get so much out of volunteering. It's such a feel-good feeling, and I honestly think with volunteering, there's a lot of people out there that want to do it. It's just getting them out there, showing them it can be done, and it doesn't have to be an 8-hour-a-day, thing for them to do. And you're never too old and you're never too young to volunteer.
Yeah.
We have volunteers that are in their 90s and in their 80s. And my granddaughters, they're adults now, they've been volunteering since they were 4 years old.
Yeah.
Going from door to door, putting out flyers for an event we're having, or coming and helping at an event. And so you're never too young and you're never too old.
Yeah,
it's just,
absolutely.
there's for any kind of volunteering, I think.
Can you tell us what it was like to be on the ground volunteering as COVID emerged in our community?
Well, COVID was, it's affected everybody, so incredibly. And in the seniors' lodges, it was that great fear, the fear of the unknown, just the word pandemic. And the lodge managers, you kind of have to be in in a lodge situation to appreciate what they go through, because the lodge managers and their staff, right down to housekeeping, kitchen and everything, they consider those residents family. They've built their own community within those walls.
Yeah.
And so when the pandemic hit, I literally saw people from managers to staff go home in tears for worry of their residents, and tears for them, because they were worried and they couldn't go in their puzzle rooms, they couldn't go in their common rooms. So whereas they built their community within those walls, they couldn't even have that for the longest time. As soon as it was allowed, they slowly started putting some of that back, but they have to be safe. You know, we have to keep everybody safe, and they did the best they could. You know, those lodge managers, they got a FaceTime thing going up, so if somebody didn't have that, they just knew they could go to the office and they would set them up so they could see. And so as a volunteer, I really saw a lot, like the suffering, you know, it was the fear, and a lot of them, you know, and then there's a lot of public outcry about them not being able to go out, but it just had to be, and the residents were fine with that. They were okay to be in their cocoon and to be safe. And they didn't have to leave it, and they're safe. They are safe. We've been, knock on wood, very fortunate. But it was a lot. There's a lot to it. There's the disinfecting. There's like, it's huge. It's the new normal, really. Not just for last year, not just for this coming year, but we're looking at this for a while. Maybe it won't be so strict, I'm sure, but we're looking at this way of life, I would say, within the lodges for sure.
Yeah, true.
You know, but there's always a way, and they even had bingo games. You just had to stand inside your room and hear the numbers. Like, they found a way. All those lodge managers found a way to make it work with the residents. So.
Not like they were put in their rooms and left.
No. If there was a case, then they had to isolate. It wasn't for long, but it just to keep everybody safe. But you know, even in that case, when a case came in, the Friends of the Ground Spirit Foundation, and that's what we do, that's what we raise the money for. We went and we made, you know, whatever lodge, it's only been in one lodge, I think, maybe two. We immediately, the day we heard, there were 75 residents, we made 75 COVID goodie bags. So little goodie bags, one for every resident, and it would have a hand sanitizer, you know, crossword puzzle book, a Sika word book, little thing of chocolates, just fun stuff. 10 or 11 little fun items, and it was delivered to all the residents right away, just so they would know that somebody was looking out for them, somebody cared, and that they're not alone. And you know, and then their families are great, and the community has been amazing. Just we have such a wonderful community.
We truly do. We truly do.
Really do. So it was an eye opener. COVID it's changed the world. Yeah, and like I said, you know, like those ladies and gentlemen, they take it home with them, you know, like they've changed their life, because what they would do on a normal basis, they don't do. They go to work and they go home. They can't possibly risk of, you know, getting contaminated themselves. And so it's, I take my hat off to any frontline worker, any volunteer, any, you know, the lodges, the stores, you know, it's just, the world is pulled together. I truly think that we've all come together and made it work. So,
well, we have to stay apart.
Most of us, yes. We have to stay apart. We have to stay apart to keep it together.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good way of putting it. How has COVID impacted your volunteer experience, I guess?
Well, here's the thing. So I love people, and I love to volunteer. Personally, I have a job, but I'm off waiting just for a little bit of surgery. So, but I volunteer. I used to volunteer at casinos and bingos when they had them over here. You know, for like whatever groups that were in there. It could be spinal cord, the Lions Club and stuff. So that's done. Like there's no casinos. There's no, you know, no bingos. No nothing. There's no fundraisers that a person can go to help out. So even volunteering in the lodge, like in the very beginning, I went in to Lakeview because they don't cross lodge at all. So I just went and was at the door to when people brought in groceries and that to sanitize. But that was only until they could hire, because they all had to hire extra staff for the extra cleaning and stuff. So it was only for that, because I'm not an employee of Ground Spirit. So helped out there for the first month or so, and then now I take them to their appointments, different residents, and you know, and I stick with Lakeview, so again, we're not cross-lodging, but that's it. Like we we've, with the Friends of Grand Spirit, we've, this last year for every holiday, like Easter, Thanksgiving, we have just about 1,000 residents with all of the areas, probably about 900 and something. Some independent lodges, some are dependent. So for the independent lodges for Easter, we had Easter dinners made up.
Yeah.
And there was just about 300 of them for the independent lodges, like out in Sexsmith.
Yeah.
And the chef of the Stonebridge, where we get our meals done,
Yeah.
dressed up like the Easter Bunny, and we went and delivered the Easter meals because they couldn't go anywhere for Easter. And then we took some cupcakes around in July for our 60th anniversary, and then for Easter we took cupcakes to all the other residents because they get their Easter dinner in the lodge.
Yeah.
And then we did it again for Grandparents' Day. Everybody got cupcakes, and then Thanksgiving, and then Remembrance Day. And we go local, of course.
Yeah.
And Remembrance Day, we had these amazing cookies made up from a lady in Beaver Lodge. She made like 800 or 900 of them, and they were poppies. Yep. So and they were all individually wrapped and delivered to each door. And the residents were just so, like, they just started. The ones who couldn't remember my name, they'd say, "Oh, it's the food lady." Of a name.
Yeah.
But and then Christmas, everybody got a gift, and so that's what we raise money for things like this. So literally shopped for 900 and something people, and everybody got a Christmas gift from
That's
the Friends of Grand
incredible.
Spirit and from the community. Different businesses and organizations also
Yeah.
bought gifts. So we're just getting ready to do Easter again. So, but that's it. I mean, there's not a lot as far as volunteering. Really, a person could do now.
No, they're really
Because you can't, with the lodges anyways, because we can't go in them or anything,
Yeah.
so. I watch your Volunteer Services Bureau to see, I like to be busy and I like to help where I
Yeah.
can, because I love this community, so. But yeah, I'll be glad when things can start
For sure.
coming around a little bit more to
Yeah, I
sort of
agree.
normal, the new normal.
Yeah. So what are some positives that have come out of everything that has happened in this last year?
To be honest, I think as a whole, I think families have come closer together because
Yeah.
they're literally forced to spend more time together. I think a much greater awareness has been reached for people to see how a senior lives day in and day out. They live in their apartment, or because some of them don't have family to visit and whatnot. So it's a real eye-opener when you have to stay home yourself and and you can't go and do the things. It's really given, I think, the world a chance to walk in another's shoes
Yeah.
and appreciate, our lifestyle and everybody else's. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much the only thing that I can see coming out of COVID that has a positive
Yeah.
effect. It's just it's very impressive and heartwarming how much everybody stepped up for the seniors
Yeah.
in this community, in the lodges. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, they worked hard, to bring this community to what it is, and so it's just very heartwarming to see that part of it. But they'll be like even out at Lakeview, last summer they did I think it was for MS, they did a walk. They're in the middle of a pandemic. They're all, worried, but they got their walkers, they got their wheelchairs, they stayed 6 feet apart, and they walked around the building 2 or 3 times to raise money. And they're just positive. That's what I love so much about seniors. They're just positive.
Yeah.
And they say it like it is.